Philadelphia is truly the place to be this summer, so add the Match Room to your list. This is a limited time sports lounge experience at Four Seasons Hotel Philadelphia, opening June 11th through July 19th. Located on the 59th floor, the space has been designed for watching international soccer matches. There's elevated food and drink options, including dishes you can share, and the best views of the city. Plan your visit now. Make those reservations on fourseasons.com/Philadelphia/dining and experience the Match Room before it's gone. Hey, Philly, Trinae here. At the end of today's episode, we've got a sponsored interview with the Penn Museum. Tia Jackson Truitt and Paul Best are going to talk to me about Penn and Philly 250, a celebration of community, culture, and freedom. A free all-day event happening at the museum on Saturday, June 13th. There's going to be live performances, food trucks, Black-owned businesses, free health screenings, and so much more. Brought to you by the Penn Museum. It's the Tuesday News Roundup. We're talking about how the World Cup kicks off this week and everyone's selling merch. Why the Parker administration wants to buy the police headquarters building for $200 million. And what's the identity of the Democratic Party here in the city? It's Tuesday, June 9th. I'm Trinae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Claudia, thanks for being back on the show. What is one thing you'd ban from Center City immediately?
That's a good question. I mean, because what comes to mind is not banning, but actually bringing. I feel like we need more trash cans. Like I know we have those big belly trash cans that always get overfilled. So how about we ban, like, I don't know, not having enough trash cans around. So yeah, I feel like whenever I'm walking around Center City, I definitely need somewhere to throw my trash. And it's sometimes hard because they're either overfilled or you can't find one.
That's a really good one.
That is so true. That is a good one. That's Claudia Vargas, local journalist. Welcome to CityCast Philly. Okay, Abby, our senior producer here at CityCast Philly, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is one thing you would ban from Center City specifically right now?
You know, I think I would ban motorized vehicles on the sidewalks. Like, I feel like there have been multiple times where I've almost gotten hit by like a scooter because I have my headphones on. I'm walking around, not paying attention, and someone like zips past me. And I feel like if you can go 20 miles an hour faster on your vehicle, you should be on the street. Do not be on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and like bikes can't be on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree. No motorized vehicles on the sidewalk.
And I didn't bring it up, but those little delivery bots, I don't know how fast they can go, but they might count too. I
think they're so cute. I actually was walking behind one the other day and I was like, you know what? They're fine. I don't mind them.
Yeah, they're definitely not going 20 miles per hour to deliver your burger, Abby.
Yeah.
So
they're not. I guess they'll make the cut this time. I don't know. They just freak me out. Same with the ones in the grocery stores. Just because you slap eyes, the little googly eyes on something, I'm not sold.
Well, speaking of that, I would say, in terms of the robots, though, I think we should ban the harassment of the robots. I saw one of those things on 17th Street, like between 17th and Walnut, and people just said the craziest stuff. I then saw kids like mocking it a little bit, and I'm like, dude,
like people were yelling at it, like
yeah,
were saying
and
things
like,
to it.
oh, I'm gonna steal that cheeseburger, and I'm like, what? Like, why did y'all go to crime? Like, why was that the initial like response to the robot? I don't know.
I know, but Trinae, are you surprised? Like, this is Philly. It's where they, what was that famous robot that we killed?
Like,
remember Hitchbot?
Yeah. Yes. I know. Okay. Well, that wasn't going to be my thing that I would ban from Center City. I want to ban something else. And let me know what you think of this, okay? I want more open streets. So it would basically be banning vehicles from Broad Street to 11th and Market to Spruce Streets. And it would be car-free from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And hear me out. There are so many retailers, coffee shops, restaurants and nightclubs that I feel like would make the experience of like like shopping and eating at these restaurants and like going to the nightclubs more enjoyable, like if there were no cars.
So taking that like initiative, open streets like to the extreme, and like just saying let's just do this all the time. We just want open streets after 5 every day, or just a weekend thing, or
Okay, maybe we need a pilot, right? So
Okay. The pilot will be
let's
weekends.
pilot this on the weekends because like uh the I'm sure the crowd is different because there is like the weekend crowds, the bars, the restaurants, right? And then we can see how that goes. I would say bikes would be allowed. I would allow bikes. Um, but cars, maybe not. And I'm a driver. I'm a driver in the city, and I'm very like pro driver, and like we need like cheaper parking and more places to park. But when I think about like when I like have friends that come into the city, like it would be nice if we had the freedom to walk around and move around without the concern of cars and all the traffic that brings. So if you need a ride share, pick it up at Market, pick it up at Broad.
I'm surprised you're picking east of Broad though and not west of Broad, because usually the open street stuff is like west of Broad. Like, you want to include Rittenhouse and that whole area.
I think they get a lot of play.
Okay.
I think
So you want the other
they
side.
get that open street
Yeah.
already, which again, I went to my first open street in the fall last year. And it would just so happen to be during an Eagles game. And, all the fans are coming out from the subway. And I'm like, I like this vibe. I like this. But give love to the other side of Broad, which I feel like doesn't often get a lot of love when it comes to these initiatives. And so that's my pitch. That's my pilot pitch.
Yeah, I feel like every once in a while, in the neighborhood, they'll have like a street closed down during the summer.
Yes. Like Sampson Street sometimes, or 13th Street. Yeah,
exactly. And I love that. I think that's great. It's always very useful. I'm usually there later in the day, so.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah,
and I think that
like
works
my
well.
pilot.
But yeah, I'm down to try anything. Why not? Let's go.
Well, let us know what you think of this proposal that I have, and also what else you would ban in Center City, like right now, like immediately. Send us a text or a voice memo at 215-259-8170, and maybe we can use it for the show. All right. Well, as maybe hopefully people think about those ideas, we definitely need more trash cans because the world is coming to the city this week because the World Cup literally kicks off. And I've noticed that World Cup swag is everywhere. Have you guys noticed this? Like, I went to Urban Outfitters on 17th and Walnut after I saw the robot. And I walked in. First thing I saw was a really cool, like, graphic t-shirt commemorating this year's World Cup. A friend of mine posted $10 foam hands at Walmart. So I'm thinking, okay, the big box retailers are getting in on this action. My local 7-Eleven had a little section of World Cup merch. Apparently CVS has FIFA World Cup merch.
It's everywhere.
Obviously, Dick's and Rally House, which are, they support like sports apparel and things like that. And I was like, wow, this is such a tourist trap.
Well, it's a big event, right? So everybody's going to try to capitalize on it and make some money. But the ones I haven't seen yet, but I'm assuming we'll be seeing them, are those little pop-up, people who just like set up a table and they make their own shirts and sell those. So I haven't seen that yet, but I know I see those all the time around the city for, Eagles, Phillies, whatever sports season it is.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of them during the let out for the Roots picnic. And I was like, oh, I wish I knew because these shirts are probably cheaper than the shirts that I paid for. But it got me thinking about like some local businesses and what they're doing. So there's a new Mitchell and S store in Center City. They are selling World Cup merch as well. And then I went to college with this guy named Ebun. He's the owner of Live Breathe Football, which is a soccer apparel company founded in Philly. Now, he's not selling like World Cup merch, but he's got some very cool soccer streetwear and jerseys. And so that got me thinking, like, you don't have to like go and pick up the, CVS shirts or whatever. There are local businesses that you can support.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to Minor Details, which has a couple locations in Philly. There's one in Roxborough and Fishtown. They're kind of doing some generic cutesy World Cup like merch. They have like pretty girls watch the World Cup, like a ringer tee, which is funny. They have dad hats that say like 2026 with like a soccer ball on the zero. So a little more subtle, less like World Cup 2026, like American flag in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. And then I really liked Yards. Yards Brewing has a limited edition World Cup supporter kit, and they actually made like a custom jersey. They collabed with Top Tomato Bar in Center City and this like a soccer watch party group. It's national, but there's a Philly chapter. It's called American Outlaws Philly, and they made this shirt that says like Yards on the front. It's blue, and then it has 19, which is the number of the chapter of the American Outlaws Philly group. So it's a cool like local mashup, a fun way to support local businesses when, Walmart is selling stuff as well.
As we're talking about like some of the fun stuff, the merch coming out of the World Cup, there is some serious elements to it. And that would be in terms of like how police are going to keep everyone safe, right? We saw images and videos this week from Gayborhood where people were partying after Pride on Sunday, and it seemed to show police acting very aggressively as they were trying to get people off the streets, shutting down these parties. But it's hard to really tell the full context of what was actually going down in some of the images and some of the videos. You just don't know like what sparked it all, but it made me wonder, what is going to happen during World Cup? How is policing going to be for large crowds? And we're getting international fans. We're getting fans from around the country. There's going to be lots of crowds. I'm thinking also over at Lemon Hill for the FIFA Fan Festival. A lot of people are going to show up. It's a free festival. So what is the policing going to be like for this high-profile event, as well as some other high-profile events happening throughout the summer around the city?
Well, one of the things that I did read was that the police department will be putting translation services into the body cameras, and therefore they can translate up to 50 languages, I believe. And that's key, right? Because we're going to have people from all over the world coming to Philadelphia for the World Cup. So that's a new initiative that they're doing public safety-wise, which seems great. And then, in terms of big events and keeping people safe, Philly has done this before. Of course, we haven't hosted a FIFA World Cup, but we've had the Pope's visit, which that was huge. That brought over 1 million people, right, for that. Then we had the DNC. We've had those big Parkway concerts. So, and I know that Commissioner Bethel has said this before. Like, it's not like we haven't done this, right? Like, we've done big events before. And I think with each big event, Philly has learned some things, and I think they do keep improving every time. For example, it was only 6 years ago that we had the George Floyd protest, and that did not go so well, right? It was the sort of thing where they were used to peaceful protests here in Philly, and then when things got a little hectic, it didn't go well because then police responded with tear gas and they were outnumbered, and unprepared.
And the city got sued for that, right?
Oh, yes, they did. Yeah, because it wasn't just 676. Then they did it again a couple days later in West Philly and caused a lot of harm. And I think that they acknowledged that that wasn't the right way to go about things. And I don't think we've seen those kinds of images since then. So, I don't expect that to happen because people are coming here to the World Cup to celebrate. It's not necessarily a protest. But I guess my point just being that Philly has done various big events. They should be prepared for this. I believe that they are. And I know that the mayor and her administration have been announcing already that they're fully prepared to expect these crowds.
Yeah, and I read too that like beyond the like police specific involvement, they're going to have more than 700 employee ambassadors that are going to help SEPTA riders find where they need to go. So people walking around to help visitors, figure out how to navigate our public transit system. They also have the Access Philly app, which is a multilingual app we've talked about before on the podcast. It has like real-time information, maps, notifications for the events, that type of stuff, and also a World Cup specific WhatsApp channel, which is a platform a lot of people use to communicate across the world.
And what I'm also looking at too, Abby and Claudia, is this kind of looming SEPTA transit police strike that could happen during all of the summer activities. That would be problematic.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of police, the Park administration wants to buy the police headquarters at 400 North Broad Street for $200 million. That's after the break. Okay, so the Parker administration is trying to buy the Philadelphia Police headquarters, which is on 400 North Broad Street, for $200 million. And City Council approved it on Thursday. Claudia, what's going on in this deal?
Well, just that. I mean, City Council just has to approve in the middle of everything else that they were trying to approve, all the various taxes and everything. And
right, because we're in budget season now.
Yeah, it's budget season. Now they're like, hey, by the way, we'd like to actually buy the police headquarters, which seemed to be a surprise to them. But to be fair, it shouldn't have been, because this was a Kenny plan. And just to take you guys back a little bit, which kind of adds to sort of the craziness of this all, is that back when Mayor Nutter was still mayor, he designed a plan to create a new police headquarters, because if you remember the roundhouse over at 8th and Race, that super antiquated building, it's just, It was bad.
Which they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're still trying to figure out what to do with that building, right?
Yes. They're
right.
Still,
is that the one that looks like handcuffs?
From aerial view?
From the top.
Yeah, that's it. So Nutter said, hey, there's a great building over at 46th and Market. Let's buy that, redesign it. So the city bought it. Totally redid it, got it ready for police headquarters.
Right, that's the neoclassical Provident Mutual Insurance building.
Yep,
yeah.
And they spent about $62 million, I believe it was, on that. Then Kenny comes into office and he says, you know what? I don't like that building. I don't think the cops like it either. There's no parking. It's an issue. So we're scrapping that. So the city ended up selling that building for $10 million to a developer. And that's now, in the process of getting redeveloped for housing. But then Kenny decides, hey, I'm going to partner with Bart Blatstein, because he had just bought the old Inquirer building. So that's the big tower up at 400 North Broad. It's a gorgeous building, but old and interesting to put the police department where the Inquirer used to be. But nevertheless, Kenny moved forward with that plan, and the police moved into 400 North Broad. And the plan was that they would lease it in order for the owner to be able to obtain some tax credits. That way it could be a little bit more affordable. I actually don't know if those...
Well, also because those tax credits could only be given to a
private developer,
like
can be used by government.
A private person, not like the city government.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and so that was the deal. It's like, okay, well, we'll just lease it from you. That way you can get the tax credits. And then we have the option to buy. So it wasn't that they had to buy it. They just got the option to buy. And at the time, Alan Dom had actually pushed the city like, hey, you guys might as well just buy this now, because,
former council member Alan Dom. Yeah.
And he, he's a real estate guy. So he kind of knows about these deals, and I'd advised that they should buy it. And the city was like, no, we're just going to lease it for now. So now fast forward to Mayor Parker, and Mayor Parker now is like, hey, actually, this will be less, like, apparently the lease somehow, however it was designed, their payments now are supposed to double if they keep renting, essentially. So Parker's saying this will be cheaper if we just buy it, but cheaper being $200 million, which it's big, right? And the administration even said that the building itself is appraised at, I think, $21.5 million. So
and it needs renovations
still, yeah.
Wow. So, but wait, why would they pay $200 million then if it's only appraised at 21.5? That doesn't seem, the numbers don't work out there.
Well, because apparently Blatstein had spent or had borrowed about $200 million to renovate the building so that police could move in there. So they're acquiring that debt that Blatstein had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been inside that building multiple times, and for the most part, it's like the first 4 or 5 floors are used. I really don't know what goes up there. And it's an 18-floor tower. So I don't know if there's plans for them to do anything more. The one interesting thing too is that we've been hearing so much about Philadelphia needs a forensic lab that is, state of the art. And that is not at that building. Mayor Parker actually announced last year that the new forensic lab would be, guess where? West Philly.
West Philly.
Yeah.
West Philly,
So, yeah.
where this original idea even started. Wow. And okay, so what's the argument though? Are we talking like location matters in this conversation? Like, why can't we have the police headquarters in West Philly versus where it's now in Center City?
Yeah, at the time, that was one of the main things that Kenny said. The reason for locating the police headquarters at that building was because it was closer to Center City. It was more central. So that location is a factor there. And then they do have that parking garage next to it. So parking, I know, was a big thing with the West Philly, that there wasn't going to be enough parking. So, could there be other locations that have the same amount of space and for less money with available parking? That I don't know, but that's sort of what the push was. It was, hey, this is centrally located parking and big enough to fit us, just not the lab.
The question I have is that why was council like confused by this? It seemed like they didn't know about this price tag. I mean, they are literally the managers of the city's purse. And why don't y'all know about this?
Well, it seemed that this wasn't talked about until the very last minute. So it was brought up to me. It wasn't like this was something, when the mayor proposed her budget, it wasn't mentioned in the budget address. It was just brought up recently.
Is it more economical to take on this debt, buy this $200 million building rather than move the entire headquarters somewhere else again? I know that sounds annoying, but in terms of money, like $200 million is a lot of money.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's taxpayer money, right? That's that can fund a lot of things, especially when we're talking about, the schools and everything else that's been discussed during budget season.
Right. And if it does take on this debt, where would we have to pull back from?
Yeah, give and take there with the city money.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any important deadlines that we need to know about?
Yeah, well, according to the Parker administration, they said that this is their one-time option to purchase the $200 million in bonds, and that is this year. So that's why they've been trying to push this through to council during this budget season.
All right, well, we'll look for more details in this story. We've got a conversation about the political identity of the Democratic Party here in the city. That's after the break. Art Philly's What Now 2026 is a citywide festival happening now and running through July 2nd. Upcoming events and performances include Solange, the dinner station on June 9th at the Culinary Literacy Center, hosted by Chef Valerie Irwin. What is Solange? Think of it as not quite formal enough to be a salon, but structured enough for a little casual discourse with some food. A loose series of events that will give audiences a sneak peek of the minds of artists with the artists themselves. For tickets to these projects and more at What Now 2026, visit artphilly.org. There's been conversation in the city after last month's primary where voters went to the polls. And in the Democratic primary, they ultimately chose the progressive challenger, Democrat socialist Chris Rabb, who defeated two more centrist candidates in the Democratic primary. And with no challengers this fall, Rabb is almost definitely going to Congress. But I think, or how I see it, is that last month's primary is really showing us that we're at a sort of turning point, I think, for the Democratic Party here in the city. And I think that the party is going through an identity crisis, and a lot of fingers are being pointed to one particular person, and that's the chairman of the city Democratic Party, former Congressman Bob Brady. Kind of talk to me about why Bob is in the hot seat right now, Claudia.
Well, he has been running the party for 40 years. And so they've had some losses in recent years. And so, particularly from the progressive wing of the party, they're saying, like, you need to step down. Like, we want a new voice, a fresh voice. Clearly, their main candidate for the third congressional district race, Sharif Street, lost handedly. And so they're saying, the whole point of the machine, of the political machine, is that you get out the vote, you get good voter turnout, you're able to, get the vote out for your candidate. And if you can't do that, then what are you doing? So that's been some of the criticism that's been coming from the more progressive wing of the party. But Bob Brady says he's here to stay. He's running for another 4-year term. And to be fair to him, he does say he wants to work with the progressive side of the party and that he does want to bring everybody together. He says we all need to, work together to defeat Republicans. But he's not, he's saying he's staying.
Okay, this is interesting, right? Because after last month's primary, and to your point, Claudia, District Attorney Larry Krasner made calls for Bob Brady to step down, and like you said, for some new leadership, some new blood, so to speak, in the party. But my question then becomes, well, who? You can say you want change, but who is going to be that change? Who is going to be that voice? And I've been looking at this, and I see it like it's going this party is going through a political identity shift. What do voters want? Voters want something else. There seems to be a disconnect from what voters want and the reality of what people are going through right now. The prices of literally everything is sky high. I feel like everyone's drowning from the high prices. And I'm wondering, is the Democratic leadership listening to voters at this time? And so I feel like all that kind of connects to kind of sort of, well, if there's calls for new leadership, who?
Right. And that's the problem, because nobody, at least that I've heard of right now, is willing to challenge Bob Brady to be chair of the party. But what we have seen is a change in committee people. That's the lowest level of elected official here in Philadelphia. So there is about, more than 3,000 committee people, and it's broken up by wards and divisions. And the committee people for each ward vote on a ward leader. And there's 69 wards altogether. So the committee people get together and vote on a ward leader. And this actually just happened last night. And we did see a little bit of turnover going from the more established ward leaders and candidates we've seen in the past to some younger, fresher voices. So there is a little bit of change going on, but not at the top, which is what some people have been calling for.
And Claudia, really quick, just to quickly explain wards for anyone who might not be super familiar. Philadelphia, the ward system is closely linked to elections and voting in your neighborhood. Wards are broken down into divisions, which dictate where your polling place is, and ward leaders and committee people are responsible for the elections operations in your area and also electing the head of the party, essentially what Bob Brady will be running for again.
Correct. The committee people elect the ward leaders, which happened last night. And now those ward leaders will be electing the chairman. And that happens next Monday on the 15th. So that's when we'll know for sure if Bob Brady is going to remain chairman of the party for another 4 years. As far as I know, nobody has raised their hand that they're going to challenge him. So it all indicates that he will be serving the party for another 4 years.
And he did mention that this may be his last time running for this position, correct?
Correct, yes. This would be his last 4 years. And he has said that he wants to make sure that these last 4 years he rebuilds the party, works on the structure, and tries to include, the progressive side and others who want to be part of it.
And, I think I want to make a point too, is that in order to get stuff done, you got to have some street cred. You got to be able to do stuff. I mean, it is nice to talk about change and that sort of thing. But Claudia, do you want to talk about what Bob has done, in Philadelphia? He was pretty instrumental in bringing us the DNC, the Democratic National Convention in Philly. He's been able to get stuff done, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very affable person. I mean, you can't, despite all the craziness that sometimes surrounds the party, he does have the ability to bring people together, right? So there's, a lot of different factions of of even the committee, right? There's the Black ward leaders, the more progressive wing, the more clergy side, and he is able to work with all those people, bring him in the room, and get stuff done. So that is a credit to him. And and part of it is right longevity. He's been around for 40 years, so he knows everybody and anybody in Philadelphia that he needs to know in order to get things done. Like, for example, yeah, the DNC, and and even when he was in Congress, he was able to bring. He wasn't a big policy like legislative guy, but he did bring in millions of dollars to the city to help out with various projects.
Yeah, and that is super important context to know too. And so again, my question becomes who can fill those huge shoes? And it's one thing to say you want change, but you gotta be about it.
Yeah, but I will say, Trey, one of the interesting things in this most recent election, for committee people and now with ward leaders, is that three big names in Philadelphia politics were kicked to the curb. I mean, the voters we don't want these legacy people anymore. And I'll go through this. One of them, obviously, was Sharif Street, who ran for Congress, as we know. I mean, he's the son of a mayor, very well known name here in the city. He lost. Then in smaller elections for committee person, former council member Bill Green, also the son of a mayor, he lost his election. He actually wrote a whole piece on Substack saying that the his opponents deserved to win because they actually ran a race to run for committee person. He just in his words, he didn't do too much and just assumed he'd win because he's always been a committee person. And then Janie Blackwell, the former councilwoman from West Philly, also a long history of politics with her and her husband, lost her committee seat and therefore has lost her ward seat. So we will see a new ward leader in West Philly over there. So there is turnover going on these legacy names, these longtime Philadelphia politicians.
And were these positions, the people who got them, are they moving in a progressive direction? Because like Trinae mentioned, DA Krasner, he's a progressive DA. We look at Chris Rabb, who won the nomination for the 3rd Congressional District, also another progressive candidate. So does that seem to be like the direction the Democratic Party is going in Philly?
I wouldn't say that's the direction that the whole party's going in, but some of these people who were beat, these longtime politicians, it does tend to be the folks who actually put like the boots on the ground, and that does tend to be the more progressive side. I mean, they've done Reclaim and other groups have done an amazing job of just like knocking on doors, and for the candidates that they do want in these positions, they've been able to get them to win, to get the votes.
Really interesting. All right, Claudia and Abby, thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday News Roundup.
Thanks for having me, Trinae.
Thanks so much.
Listeners, don't go anywhere. In just a moment, we have a sponsored interview with Tia Jackson Truitt, Director of Staff and Community Engagement, and Paul Best, Museum Educator at the Penn Museum. We're talking about Penn and Philly 250, a free celebration of community, culture, and freedom happening at the museum on June 13th. I'm here with Tia Jackson Truitt, Director of Staff and Community Engagement, and Paul Best, Museum Educator at the Penn Museum. We are talking about your event, Penn and Philly 250, a celebration of community, culture, and freedom. It's all happening at the museum on Saturday, June 13th. Thank you both so much. Welcome to CityCast Philly.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tia, we'll start with you. You've spent years building programming at the Penn Museum around holidays like Kwanzaa and Juneteenth and other community-informed events. So tell me, Penn and Philly 250 takes that work to a whole new scale on June 13th. Walk us through what folks can expect.
So on that day, you're going to have fun and you're going to learn something. So it's an indoor-outdoor event that combines the Wharton School's Wellness Empowerment Project with the Penn Museum's annual Juneteenth celebration. We're going to have hourly performances, a live DJ, and an exciting host named Starfire. We have health and financial literacy resources, pop-up community exhibits. People will be able to go into the galleries and exhibits all day inside the museum. But we're also going to showcase lots of locally owned small businesses, vendors, and food trucks. We have a children's activity zone, hourly lectures and community conversations, face painting, music, dance, great food, and so much more. We're also going to have free food giveaways by Phil Abundance, sharing fresh produce, and our mobile mammography van from Penn Medicine will be there to do live screenings. So there's truly something for everyone.
This sounds like a good time. Paul, I want to get you into the conversation. You lead Black Boys Making Noise, which is a storytelling group that's going to be performing at the event. Tell us about the work that you do and what you'll be bringing to the Juneteenth Freedom Stage.
Black Boys Making Noise is an African American storytelling group that's made of about 7 boys ages 7 to 18. And we carry the oral traditions of Black culture. We teaching them the folk traditions, so storytelling, using their bodies as instruments, drumming and poetry. And it is a way to make sure that our oral tradition is sustained. The best way to continue something like that is to always put it in the hands of young people. So we will be at the Freedom Stage along with Starfire. She's hosting, and her name is literally what she is.
Right.
Starfire. With the DJ, there'll be line dancing, some step dancing, the double Dutch, activities for all ages. It's kind of like a Black family reunion.
I was just about to say that. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And when you really look at like original Juneteenth, that's exactly what it was. You know, food, freedom, enjoying each other's company, and celebration of how we are still here and how we will continue to persevere. So the theme this year that the boys are centering their stories around is called Through It All, Stories of Wit, Wisdom, and Wonder. So wit, thinking on our feet, being smart, finding ways to show resistance and resilience, wisdom, remembering things that worked, remembering the wisdom that was passed down from our ancestors, and wonder, always leaning into possibility, dreaming, thinking about fantasy, thinking about what lies ahead for the future.
Well, you basically answered my next question, Paul. And T, I want to get your thoughts on this too. Telling the full story of the semi-quincentennial America 250, what does that mean? And also recognizing Juneteenth and the broader story of freedom. How is this event helping give the full picture of our country's history?
So what is new this year is that we are truly collaborating across the entire campus. And so Penn Medicine, law, dental, engineering, social work, SP2. SP2 is the School of Social Policy and Practice, of which I am a proud alum, and they always partner with us somehow for our big programs and events. So that's what SP2 refers to. So many of our campus partners are contributing either faculty talks, volunteer support, and other resources to make this a success. And the way we're telling the complete story is that we have a series of community conversations. And so our Annenberg School of Communications is doing a conversation around what does free speech really mean. The Center for Africana Studies is doing a conversation around kind of the history of Black Philadelphians in this country's freedom. As we know, Philadelphia is kind of like the birthplace of the country. So there's no better place to tell the story. We have other conversations scheduled throughout the day. And so we are truly bringing you a historical perspective, a complete story. There is truly something for everyone. I want to emphasize that all audiences are invited to this event. We have one of the most diverse celebrations each year across age, race, income, education level. Lots of first-time visitors to the museum come that day. People from all zip codes all around the region. It's something for everybody, and I just can't wait to have everyone come out and see us for this free event.
Tia, Paul, thank you both so much for being here and for everything that you're doing to bring this event to life.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Penn and Philly 250, a celebration of community, culture, and freedom, is happening Saturday, June 13th from noon to 6 p.m. at the Penn Museum. And admission is free. So grab your free tickets and learn more. Head to penn.museum. And you can follow along on social media at Penn Museum. Thanks for listening. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Let us know what you thought of this episode and share this with a friend. Also, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.